Hello, hello, hello. This is Ash with yet another episode of E-Wasted. And today we are dealing with Ryzen 7 7th gen build here. Yes, Ryzen 7 7700X. We got a pretty good deal local marketplace. It was like someone was paying someone else to do a build, and then they had to back out because they had a bunch of back child support or something crazy. I don't know. But anyways, I got the thing for $100, and it still sells for like dang near 300 on Amazon. So not a bad dealio. So I just had to do a build around that because of it. So we'll take a little glance at the finished product here. We'll walk around to the system here. This is the slow-mo video around the case here. Oh, okay, it's got lights and everything. Yes, it does. We'll get the build going in the other window here. Get it moving. Yes, yes, yes. What are we doing here? I need to resize this bastard, huh? Let me see here. This one needs to resize here, doesn't it? Yep. It will resize you. Transform. There we go. Get you in there. Okay, now we can kind of see what I'm doing. Okie dokie. So, anyways, what is this thing? What is this creature that we put together here? What could it be? Yes. Close this out. Look at the specs as listed on the now removed Craigslist post, because I ended up selling the system the other day, which was a good thing. But yes, it's an AM5 based platform. The ASRock A620M HDV motherboard, Ryzen 7 7700X at 4.5GHz, 8-core 16-thread, new Patriot 512MB NVMe SSD, and a 500GB spinner drive. I think I actually upgraded that to a terabyte before I sold it. It's more appropriate to have a little more storage. 16 gigs of DDR5 6000 RX 5700 XT 8GB card. Plus, it's got the onboard graphics from the card itself, or from the chip, the processor. And then for the case, went with this critter here. Wait, this one here. There we go. Yes, the genuine walnut wood micro ATX PC case. Not bad for $60. I mean, that is pretty stylish. This is the first time with this Okinos that I'm seeing like the wood grain, incorporated in the PC cases at such a low price. So I think they've got a good thing going there. I mean, who doesn't want, just a little bit of a refined view there? So my first impulse was just to leave this without light. I mean, if someone's going to go for the all-natural finish on the PC, do they really want LEDs blaring through, messing it up? But then I started thinking, well, maybe they do. I mean, maybe still people want some little color. So that's why, going back to the video here, ended up with putting the one fan in the front and the one fan you can see right here in the rear. Like, white light would be good. I didn't want to go for anything rainbow, or I don't know if green would go with the wood veneer. I don't know. But anyways here, so there's the motherboard, the ASRock A620M, and you look at the video right there, and I got the CPU in, got the M.2 NVMe in there. Yes, I'm moving along on the build. Yes. So anyways, moving on to the CPU. So, with the Ryzen 7 7700X 8-core 16-thread, which still goes for like $272 on the Amazon. So that's not bad, picking it up for $100 on the local here. But anyways, so what would this processor, what's it supposed to score like on our benchmark of choice around these parts, the pass mark? Not because it's the best or most comprehensive benchmark out there, just because it's the most well-rounded as to testing out like pretty much all the components you're going to put in your system. That's right. That's why I use it mainly, just because it, it's kind of, as far as I guess conserving time, it makes it pretty easy to test your whole system out and just okay, done. It's if you get really in depth, you can get into all these other benchmarks that'll show this and that and the other thing. But around these parts, we just want something wham bam, thank you ma'am, you're done. We got a general idea of how our system performs against other systems, or other components of a similar nature, so to speak here. But yes, looking at the pass mark for this processor, it's saying that for the multi-thread it should get around 35,885, and for the single thread around 4193. And when we look at what we got when performing the test, we got 34,778 and 4206, so a little less on the multi-thread, a little more on the single thread, but still pretty dang close there. And you can a lot of times it'll depend if it's got updates downloading in the background, or some process that Windows is doing that you don't know anything about. I mean, yeah, it could be many things. We'll take a little closer look at what I'm doing in this. Oh, I think I need to switch this one around too. Let me see here. Go to transform. I'll flip the 90 degrees counterclockwise and shrink that bastard down there. There we go. Get that little critter in its home. That's a little more viewable on what we're doing there. Yeah. Sometimes, I film the build parts with my camera on a stand in the basement. So sometimes it flips the aspect ratio around, and I don't take a whole lot of time to perfect things before I do the OBS and do my commentary on the build and the components and all that. It's kind of just, let's just get it done. So here we are. Anyways, moving along down our list of things in the browser to discuss. What do we have next? Yes, here is the CPU cooler that I chose. It's only 15 bucks, but it seemed like a good fit to kind of match the aesthetics of the case, especially when I thought I wasn't going to have lights in there. If I'd started out thinking that I wasn't going to have lights, I might have chosen something different in the same price range. But thinking for a total, sleek, non-lighted look, this seemed to be, pretty appropriate. Pretty appropriate indeed. But moving on, next here, we have these memories that we got here. This is actually, got these off a local find on the Facebook there, and I think we got it for like 40 bucks. So it's pretty good for the Team Group T-Create Expert CL30 overclocking DDR5. Except we only got the 16 gig kit, so it's still pretty good. And originally I'd found this cheap deal on some DDR5 4800, but it seemed a little bit, kind of like you're missing the point with the RAM. Trying to build a higher end system than just sticking the lowest tier of the DDR5s in there. That might not be good. Now that graphics card that you see me putting in there, that was just for testing purposes. Once I got everything together, it's just a nice. I have another system right now, but it's a nice low power card that you can just stick in just to make sure the motherboard works before you go through installing everything in the case and finding out that you got a dud. Because sometimes that happens. Even buying new off the Amazons, sometimes a motherboard comes in and it just doesn't work, just dead out of the box. That's a depressing thing, but unfortunately it's something that can happen in the realm of possibilities. So yes, we're gonna crank up the speed on our build video here just a little bit so we can move ahead a little quicker. So watch me go into turbo mode putting this together. Now I'm thinking about, how am I going to route these cables? Where are they going to go to the motherboard? Which holes should I stick these cables through? I don't know. yeah, I'm figuring it all out. Sometimes it takes a little trial and error. You get it, put the motherboard in, and then you're like, oh shit, I got it wrong the first time. I got to redo that, redo this, blah 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 blah. But anyways, on to our next browsers. I guess we are talking about our Patriot P300 M.2 NVMe. So this is just, you know, a cheap one. You can definitely get better ones. What I look at most of the time is just what is the cheapest I can put a system together with. If I was, you know, building something for myself to keep, I might be looking a little more at what's, you know, the best absolute quality you can get. But when you're trying to make a buck off it, it's good to just kind of get the cheapest thing that's decent and works, if you can do that. Yeah, we got a full range of other sizes for these Patriots. If you're into that kind of thing, look on Amazon for an M.2 NVMe for your build. But what do we have next here? So yes, this is how the Patriot P300 256GB NVMe scores on the pass marks. The 10422. And we look at what we got on our benchmarks. We actually got 12505. So our NVMe scored a little better than average on the pass marks. Good to see there. Yes, yes, yes. So let me see. So that was that. There was that. And now we're on to, yes. So at first, like I said, I was looking at the case like, oh yeah. You know, why would you blaspheme and put lights in this? It's just so beautiful with the wood theme and the sleek and, you know, everything. And that's kind of what it looks like in the listing here too. Go back, there's the case. Like, oh, that does look kind of nice. But in the end, I was like, I don't know. Kids these days, they want the flash. They want the spoiler on the computer. They want the lights. Put the LEDs on. Put an LED spoiler on the back of the computer, just to make it. That's where the go fast comes from. But yeah, so I did that. Slapped a couple of those suckers in, and soon after sold, actually. So maybe it worked. Maybe it was just the performance of the high quality components we're putting in this bastard here. But on to the graphics card. We found this on the eBays. I don't know if it was an offer, or I forget if it was an auction or whatever it was, but $117.50 plus, you know, tax and shipping, ended up being pretty much $140, which is good. I found like one of these locally that I managed to get for $140 also recently. It'll go into a future build here. Yes, yes, it will. But you're wondering, what did I have that mixed up? Okay. How is the RX 5700 XT supposed to score on the pass marks? It says here 16423 is the average that you would be expecting. And when we look at what we got, it was actually quite a bit less. And I don't know if it's because we used the latest driver, or, you know, you never know. I probably could have rerun the test, tried to optimize things a little bit. I don't know. Mainly just trying to get this thing out the door here. So, I mean, that's kind of funny, because I guess maybe that speaks to the how passmark isn't a perfect benchmark, just because in a recent system that I was doing, I had like a GTX 1070 with an i7 8700K, and it actually scored higher than this for the 3D mark. It was like 15,000 something, and I have no idea why it would do that, but, you know, who knows. Yeah. Anyways, moving on here. Yes. So that was what it should have scored. And yes, here is the picture of the RAM that I got. This is the 2 8GB sticks of the T-Create here. $40. About, you know, it was about like a 15-20 minute drive to go pick them up or something. It was a pretty decent deal to get away from the DDR5 4800 that I had first got. And I was like, yeah, now I've got that still hanging around. I'm like, what am I going to do with that? Maybe I'll get, like, do the cheapest LGA 1700 build possible. We'll get one of those, the 12th, 13th, or 14th gen i5s you can pick up for around $70 new. I haven't looked quite at what they are used on the eBays, but maybe you can get one as cheap as 50. I don't know. That might be the cheapest DDR5 build you can do right now. I don't know. That's until, because the Ryzen 7 and 8th gen, they haven't came out with the Ryzen 3 for that yet. So the cheapest you're getting on those are the Ryzen 5s. The cheap ones are around like 150 or something. So yeah, it's getting the budget DDR5 build. It's pretty tough. You gotta go for the the i3s, but then you run into the difficulty of motherboards. And doing that recently, trying to find like a cheap LGA 1700 motherboard, and you can't find anything under $100 really. I mean, maybe that's considered cheap. I don't know. I think if you go the AliExpress route, you can find one for like 70. That might be what I do for that, but yeah, I really don't know. I'm not sure about that. So yes, this is what you'd pay on eBay. The cheapest I found for those are the white ones. But if you were to go out and get those same memories there, almost $50 more than it'd be $50 plus after tax and all that. What else is looking? Oh, okay, that has nothing to do with what we're doing here. On to, yes, this is the listing here, and I think we're getting close to having this sucker together. So, yes, just about got this thing put together here. What are the takeaways from this system? I mean, it's not something I normally do, and I'm not going to go out, and there's not really any money on going out and spending like almost $300 on a CPU and then trying to sell it off on the local marketplace, unless you get, I see people doing it, getting up into doing the home built $1,000+ builds, but I don't know. I haven't gotten comfortable with doing that just yet, just because of what I witnessed that people can afford around here. In most of America here, it seems like it's still a little tight in the coin purse, clutching things here. You gotta build for the budget, because you get up above a certain price, up above 500, and then people can just go get a new system from some kind of corporate entity that has full warranty service and all those nice to-haves, which I can understand. I might do the same thing, even though I wouldn't, because I'd much rather have the pleasure of putting together the system myself and hand-picking all the components and whatnot. But anyways, yeah, I think we are just about done talking. We'll go into the final discussion here. Go over our AM5 gamer. It was the ASRock A620 with the Ryzen 7 7700X 8-core 16-thread. A Patriot 512 M.2 NVMe, 16 gigs of DDR5 6000, RX 5700 XT, 8GB. And that seemed to be like the low end of what's acceptable for like a newer graphics card in a semi, $500 through $800 system maybe. If you're trying to put one together for sale, or trying to build on a budget, as far as finding stuff like used that's somewhat affordable, $140, finding that used on eBay or locally is pretty good. I mean, you got to watch out with the local, because you meet up at some random stop and then you get home and test it, unless you're like all set up to test on site, which usually doesn't happen. You're just fingers crossed, this person is telling the truth. This thing actually works. And I guess recently, I had been talking in previous episodes about like not doing that, but there's just some deals that are too good out there. They're like, I gotta go do it. I mean, yeah. Sometimes you just gotta take a risk and have faith in humanity for doing the right thing, even though sometimes you get hosed. But yeah, looks like I got this thing all installed there. The video's over. So I guess we're done with this episode. And I will talk to you on the next one here. We'll see exactly what we got coming down the chute for next time. But until then, see you later.